Good morning, students. How are you, students? Fine? Okay. Now, students, we are dealing with our chapter number 4, and that is gender, caste, and religion. Of course. And by now, we have discussed the women disadvantage, how the women are disadvantaged at social level. Now, let's see the representation of women in political arena. Now, students, all this is well known. We all know it very well that the women representation in political field is also very low. And because of that, even many feminist and women movements they were started, and but their problems their problems will not be or were not, or their problems could not be given adequate attention. So how the women representation in political field can be increased? There is one way, that more and more women they should be elected as representatives. But first, for that, first of all, the women should get themselves nominated for the post of any representative. They should be contestant. But in India, the proportion of women in legislature has been very low. For example, the percentage of elected women members in Lok Sabha has crossed only 10% of its total strength. In Lok Sabha, the total number of members are 543 to 545, it may be up to 550, and you see only 10% means maximum 50, not more than that. And it was in 2009. Before that it was not up to 10% on also. So their share in the state assemblies, it is less than 5%. So in this respect, India is among the bottom group of nations in the world. Now you see the graph here. This is the graph, and women in the national parliament in different regions of the world, and Nordic countries, Americas, Europe, Sub-Saharan Africa, even Sub-Saharan African countries, they are economically very far behind than we Indians, and even then their representation, women representation is far more than India. You see, in Asia, rest of the countries in Asia, and in Pacific, in Arab states and India, only you see in India 10.8, lowest. It's very, just it's a matter of serious concern. Okay, so in this respect, India is among the bottom group of nation in the world, and we have seen the graph. India is behind average for several developing countries of even Africa and Latin America. In the government, cabinets are largely all male even when a woman becomes a chief minister or the prime minister. Isn't it? Yes, it is always there. One way to solve this problem is to make it legally binding to have a fair proportion of women in the elected bodies. And as in local self-government, after 1992, when 73rd amendment was made, you read in ninth class also, then the one-third seats they were reserved for the women, and because of that only now in local bodies the representation of women is to some extent okay, but in state legislative assemblies and in Lok Sabha, in parliamentary elections, their representation is not satisfactory even then. So one third of the seats in local government bodies, as earlier I asked you, in panchayats and municipalities are now reserved for women. Now there are more than 10 lakh elected women representatives in rural and urban local bodies. Now women organizations and activists have been demanding a similar reservation of at least one third of seats in Lok Sabha and state assemblies for women. a bill with this proposal has been pending. See, still it is pending before the parliament for more than a decade, means before 10 years even the bill was introduced and still it is pending. But there is no consensus over this among all the political parties, and the bill has not been passed. Now, gender division is an example that some form of social division needs to be expressed in politics. And this also shows that disadvantaged groups do benefit when social division become a political issue. तभी उनको बेनिफिट मिलता है जब ये पॉलिटिकल इशू बन जाए, तो नहीं तो कोई भी नहीं देता. Do you think that women could have made the gains we noted above if their unequal treatment was not raised in the political domain? Of course not. We as women, we could not get benefit. When the things were produced in the parliament, even then only at local bodies, the women, they got one third representation. But still, in state legislative assemblies and in parliamentary government, it is still pending. Now you see that just after so many movements, after so many petitions, even then the bill has not been passed. Now you see the grave situation. Now this is all for gender discrimination. Now let's come to our second point, and that is religion. And when there is a tension on the base of, on the just matter of religion, it is known as communalism and politics. Now let's see. Let's now turn to a very different kind of social division, the division based on religious differences. This division is not as universal as gender, but religious diversity is fairly widespread in the world today also. Many countries, including India, have in their population followers of different religion. India is a multi-religious community, as we noticed in the case of Northern Ireland. Earlier we discussed that in Northern Ireland there was a situation of tension because the Protestant, they tend to be more powerful than the Catholics, but in Netherlands the government solved the problems because the people, whether they were Catholics or they were Protestant, they behaved equally rich and equally poor and equally advantaged or equally disadvantaged. So there was no tension. But here, unlike gender differences, the religious differences are often expressed in the field of politics. Consider the following. Because Gandhiji used to say that religion can never be separated from politics. कि धर्म को राजनीति से अलग नहीं किया जा सकता. What he meant by religion was not any particular religion like Hinduism or Islam, but moral values that inform all religions. वो कहते थे कि किसी हिंदुइज्म या इस्लाम को नहीं लेना, बल्कि सभी धर्मों की मॉरल वैल्यूज़ को लेना है. He believed that politics must be guided by ethics drawn from religion. Human rights groups also in our country, they have argued that most of the victims means पीड़ित, of communal riots in our country are people from religious minorities. So they have demanded that the government take special steps to protect religious minorities. Women movements have also argued that family laws of all religions discriminate against women. In Islam, you see, a man can have 2 or 3 marriages, but if he says talaq, 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 the lady is to take, the woman is to take, the wife is to take the talaq, but now it has been abolished. So they have demanded that government should change these laws to make them more equitable. And all these instances involve a relationship between religion and politics. I think the things are clear in your mind by now. Now let's move further. But they do not seem very wrong or dangerous, because religion, we cannot separate religion from the politics, so they are not very dangerous, because ideas, ideals and values drawn from different religions can and perhaps should play a role in politics. But people should be able to express in politics their needs, interest, and demands as a member of a religious community. Means they should not raise their demands in such a way so that the demands of other religious communities, they can be depressed, they can be pressed down. No, demand should be judiciously. Those who hold political power, they should sometimes be able to regulate the practice of religion so as to prevent discrimination. Though India is a secular country, no official religion is there, government will not intervene in the matter of religion, but government should have such ideas, government should have such things with them, so that the discrimination and oppression should not be there. So these political acts are not wrong as long as they treat every religion equally. अगर इस तरह के काम सभी धर्मों को इकट्ठे लेके चलेंगे तो वो गलत नहीं होंगे. Now let's see what is communalism. The problem begins, अब ये कब शुरू होती है? When religion is seen as the basis of a nation. जब किसी धर्म को नेशन मतलब देश का बेस माना जाए. For example, Buddhism in Sri Lanka. The example of Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland in chapter 3 shows the danger of such an approach to nationalism. And the problem becomes more acute when religion is expressed in politics in exclusive and partisan terms. When one religion and its followers are pitted against another. This happens when beliefs of one religion are presented as superior to those of other religion. I think the things are clear in your mind and you are able to just understand it. When the demands of one religious group are formed in opposition to another, and when state power is used to establish domination of one religious group over the rest, then only there is a tension or situation of communalism. So this manner of using religion in politics is known as communal politics. So this communal politics is based on the idea that religion is the principal basis of social community. Communalism involves thinking along the following lines. Means the followers of a particular religion must belong to one community. Their fundamental interests are the same, and any difference that they may have is irrelevant or trivial for community life. So it also follows that people who follow different religions cannot belong to same social community. And if the followers of different religion have some commonalities, there are superficial, means उनका कोई मतलब वो सिर्फ हवा में है, and immaterial. Their interests are bound to be different and involve a conflict. And in its extreme form, जब ये आपस में बहुत ज़्यादा एक्सट्रीम फॉर्म में चली जाती है इंटरेस्ट, डिफरेंट इंटरेस्ट, communalism leads to the belief that people belonging to different religions cannot live as equal citizens within one nation. And it was the very bitter experience of India when partition of India and Pakistan was there. Either one of them has to dominate the rest or they have to form different nations. So this belief is fundamentally flawed. ये बिल्कुल गलत है. People of one religion do not have the same interest, क्योंकि ये तो बात है ही कि एक ही धर्म के लोगों का सेम इंटरेस्ट नहीं होता. And aspirations in every contest, everyone has several other roles, positions and identities. There are many voices inside every community, and all these voices have a right to be heard. So therefore, any attempt to bring all followers of one religion together in context other, then religion is bound to suppress many voices within that community. कि सभी फॉलोवर्स को एक ही तरह एक ही इकट्ठे लाने के लिए हमें बहुत सारी वॉइस को दबाना ही पड़ता है, तभी जाके एक कम्युनिटी बनती है. So, how communalism takes various forms in politics? The, this is the question for you. The first one, it's very common. The most common expression of communalism is in our everyday belief. हमारे रोज़ के बातचीत में, रोज़ के व्यवहार में, रोज़ के विश्वास में ही हमारा कम्युनलिज्म दिखता है. दिस routinely involve religious prejudice. What do you mean by religious prejudice? Means we always just we are in an image of having I mean to say हम अपने धर्म के लिए कट्टर हैं. स्टीरियोटाइप्स ऑफ रिलीजियस कम्युनिटीज़ एंड बिलीव इन द सुपीरियरिटी, और हम अपने धर्म को सुपीरियर मानते हैं और वंस रिलीजन ओवर अदर रिलीजन्स. एंड दिस इज सो कॉमन दैट वी ऑफन फेल टू नोटिस इट इवन व्हेन वी बिलीव इन इट. डेली रूटीन में हम ऐसा करते हैं और इतना कॉमन है कि हम ये बात कहते भी नहीं कि अच्छा मैंने ऐसा किया. नो. सो दिस इज द फर्स्ट वे of communalism in politics. The second is a communal mind often leads to a quest. What quest? For political dominance of one's own religious community. For those belonging to majority, for example Hinduism, it takes the form of majoritarianism, means majoritarian dominance. And for those belonging to the minority, for example Islam, it can take the form of a desire to form a separate political unit, कि हमें तो हम अपना अलग बनाएंगे. Political mobilization on religious lines. Yes, लोगों को जो मोबिलाइज किया जाता है, अपने फेवर में लिया जाता है वो धर्म के नाम पर, is another frequent form of communalism. Let me just complete it, then we will see what's there upside. This involve the use of sacred symbols. धार्मिक सिंबल्स को यूज़ करते हैं पॉलिटिकल जो लीडर्स होते हैं, रिलीजियस लीडर्स को बिठाते हैं. इमोशनल अपील एंड प्लेन फियर in order to bring the followers of one religion together in the political arena. And in electoral politics, this often involves special appeal to the interest or emotions of voters. Voters के सामने रखते हैं वो ऐसा, of one religion in preference to another. Now let's see upside what was written here. Family law. Those laws that deal with family related matters such as marriage, divorce, adoption, inheritance, etc. In our country, different family laws apply to the followers of different religions. For example, this when it is the matter of marriage, none will ask to a girl. Divorce, it's male choice. Adoption, inheritance, whatever is there, if it is always on the basis of male member, so it is there. Now let's see here, it's a very simple paragraph. Now let's see. But as India is a secular state, so communalism was and continue to be one of the major challenges टू डेमोक्रेसी इन आर कंट्री. ये तो हमेशा से रहा था और आगे भी रहेगा, धर्म के नाम पर मतभेद. द मेकर्स, इसीलिए द मेकर्स और आर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन वर अवेयर ऑफ दिस चैलेंज. दैट इज़ वाई दे चोज द मॉडल ऑफ ए सेकुलर स्टेट, एंड दिस choice was reflected in several constitutional provisions that we studied last year. There is no official religion. Now what is secularism? The question is for you. There is no official religion for the Indian state, unlike the status of Buddhism in Sri Lanka and that of Islam in Pakistan and Christianity in England. Our constitution does not give a special status to any religion. Okay, you know. The constitution provides to all individuals and communities freedom to profess, practice and propagate any religion or not to follow anyone. No one can force to follow their religion. So the constitution prohibits from discrimination on grounds of religion. And at the same time, the constitution allows the state means government, to intervene in the matters of religion in order to ensure equality within religious communities. For example, it bans untouchability. Now, understood in this sense, secularism is not just an ideology of some parties or persons, but this idea constitutes one of the foundation of our country. Communalism should not be seen as a threat to some people in India, but it threatens the very idea of India. So that is why communalism needs to be combated. उस पर रोकथाम लगाने की ज़रूरत है. So a secular constitution like ours is necessary but not sufficient to combat communalism. Communal prejudice and propaganda need to be काउंटर्ड. अगर धर्म के नाम पर कोई प्रोपेगेंडा प्रचार हो रहा है तो उसको काउंटर किया जाए इन एवरीडे लाइफ. एंड रिलीजन बेस्ड मोबिलाइजेशन नीड्स टू बी काउंटर्ड इन द एरिना ऑफ पॉलिटिक्स. और अगर धर्म के नाम पर, धार्मिक बातों के नाम पर लोगों को मोबिलाइज किया जा रहा हो, अपने फेवर में लिया जा रहा हो, तो उसको बिल्कुल ख़त्म किया जाए. सो दिस इज़ ऑल फॉर टुडे एंड टुमारो विल सी कास्ट एंड politics. Thank you.